The Rangers snapped their painful losing streak. But more importantly, I think Wyatt Langford is starting to figure out this whole Major League Baseball thing.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the World Series champion Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan. Cover this team for 11 seasons, including all 6 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank y'all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, before we get into Wyatt Langford figuring things out, a massive clutch homer from the guy in the worst skid on this team. Today's episode is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. Now, the Rangers finally snapped their 5-game losing streak, 2 at the hands of the Mets, 1 in horrendous blowout fashion, 1 in a horrendous bullpen blowing it fashion, something we haven't seen all that much this year from the best of this bullpen. But today, the Rangers scored 5 or more runs in back-to-back games, and the first time in what feels like a lifetime. It hasn't really been a lifetime. It hasn't really been all that long, but my goodness, with the way this team would just casually drop 5 runs in an inning, pretty much felt like once or twice or maybe even 3 times a week last year. Not being able to score runs in droves is just, it's been the story of this entire team. But this entire team was able to take the lead in this one. The offense was just not doing much of anything, but they were able to take the lead while still being no hit through 5 innings. 5 innings. Sean Manaea. Thanks to some great and patient at-bats by numbers 3 through 5 of the Rangers order in Robbie Grossman, actually 3 through 6. Robbie Grossman working a walk, Adolis Garcia working a walk, Josh Smith working a walk. He's DHing again today, still dealing with that general soreness, but feeling better by the day. Hopefully the off day could be enough rest for Joshua H. Pookie Smith to feel good enough to play the field. But then, the bases loaded, 2 outs, a great hit by pitch by Wyatt Langford drives in the first run of this game, and then an at-bat that I feel like is kind of indicative of where Nathaniel Lowe is right now, where he chases the first 2 pitches. This is 4 batters in a row who have reached without getting a hit. 3 straight walks and 1 hit by pitch. Not a great series of events for Sean Manaea. And I know Nathaniel Lowe has struggled a little bit against lefties and, well, really against everybody this year. But the at-bat that he had in that first inning kind of felt indicative of where he is and where this offense is as well. Swinging, missing, just getting to 2 strikes on 2 pitches out of the zone he was chasing, and then grounding out weakly to end the inning with the bases juiced with 2 outs, when the Rangers really had Manaea on the ropes. Not taking strike 1 there was just kind of showing that he is frustrated. He is itching to make something happen. I could say the same for Jonah Heim's at-bats as of late as well. Even a lot of Adolis Garcia's at-bats of late as well. But he did work the walk in this one. So still kept that line moving when Sean Manaea was on the ropes. Not quite what Lowe and Heim did. Lowe did end up working a walk later on in this game, a quality plate appearance there. But still, it feels like this offense is really, really pushing. But the way that they are pushing aggressively in the right ways is on the base paths. They have committed to that, being aggressive on the base path, stealing 2 bags in this one by the fastest player on the team and one by, well, I don't know if the slowest player on the team, but definitely one of the slower ones, Robbie Grossman, getting his, 3rd stolen base on the year? I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. Let me just say that again. Robbie Grossman playing the field and hitting well against lefties. His age 34 season has stolen 3 bases this year. Yeah, absolutely wild, but not as wild. Wyatt Langford stealing his 7th base of the year. That's a little more predictable, a little more what you're looking for. Seeing him be aggressive on the base pass, seeing him be aggressive at the plate, seeing him just swinging the stick well. It's an encouraging sign for Rangers fans and for Wyatt Langford as well. He's got 5 stolen bases in his last 7 games, 7 RBIs in his last 7 games. Over that span, he is hitting .292, on base of .346, and slugging .458. Also did have a double in this one. An RBI double. Excuse me, not an RBI double, just a regular double. An RBI single as well, and the RBI hit by pitch. But seeing him feel more comfortable at the plate, seeing him not only doing that, but playing center field for the first, 7 innings of this game? I believe it was 7. Maybe 7.5 innings of this game. And looking comfortable out there. He only played around 20-ish games in his entire baseball career since graduating high school in center field, but he looked like a natural out there, and it's definitely better over having Wyatt Lang or over having Robbie Grossman out there playing center field, or having Adolis Garcia out there playing center field. Maybe Adolis in center would be a little bit better of a thing at this point, but I don't know. With Adolis's lapses in defense lately, coming off of that Gold Glove season, I think maybe having that speed out there in center field in Wyatt Langford is encouraging. But just seeing him put together his multi-hit games, reaching base 3 times in one game, and starting to tap into that power. He hit his first over-the-fence home run this week. Got another double in this one, which he earned. It would have been a double by pretty much anybody, but his speed made it an absolutely easy double. But just seeing him get out there and feel more comfortable and start to have these better plate appearances and not getting rung up on strike 3 call all the time. It's great. It is great to see him finally start to look like the guy who he expected himself to be, who the Rangers expected him to be, and Rangers fans expected him to be as well. This is a guy who is going to be a good Major League Baseball player, maybe for a long time, hopefully. Or at least at the very least, an average Major League Baseball player for a long time. Probably a good one. Hopefully a very good one. Maybe even a great one. But it's been a long time since Wyatt Langford has struggled. It's been a long time since he's faced off against guys who weren't better than him. That were better than him. It's probably been since high school. Or maybe since his freshman year at Florida when he wasn't really playing all that much. I mean, I went back and looked through some of his game logs and the individual game by games in the minors, because there were 46 games that he played in the minors last year. 46. And he was called up to start the season, which was absolutely earned. I mean, heck, there was only one game of his first, 27? Of his first 23 in Hickory that he didn't reach base. Only one game where he didn't reach base at all. This guy just was so incredibly good from the word go. From the time he was drafted, put him in the Arizona Complex League, took them 3 games to say, oh, this guy is way too good for this level. He's way too good for the next level. Let's just jump him up straight to Hickory. Took him about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks to say, oh, he's actually too good for this level. Took him, 2 weeks in Double-A to say, oh, he's also too good for this level. And then all he had was the 7 games that he played in Round Rock in the regular season, and then the 3 to 5, however many it was, the postseason, for them to say, oh, he's also too good for AAA as well. I mean, these struggles, these adjustment periods, it takes time, and that's the thing about Wyatt Langford, is that he makes those adjustments so quickly. That's what made him jump through those levels so quickly. It wasn't that, immediately right after the draft, he was just a polished, finished product that was, good enough to be a major league caliber hitter from the moment he was drafted. That wasn't the case. But the reason why he fell to the Rangers at 4, and the reason why he has been so good, is because he made all those adjustments so quickly, so much more quickly than scouts anticipated him making them. he was, recognizing his faults and adjusting his swing and being able to, recognize pitches and what he needed to do. If you throw him the same pitch a couple of times, he's going to figure it out really, really quickly. If you start trying to attack him the same way, he's going to figure out how to adjust, and he's not going to get beaten that same way over and over again. That's what made him so special. That's what makes him so special. And that's what makes me confident and him confident and the Rangers confident in him eventually being a really good to possibly great player in the future. And it's taken some time, for sure, but we are finally starting to see those wheels turn. We're finally starting to see that progress and that growth. And just because it's been, 2.5 months, he's played I believe this was his 50th game in Major League Baseball so far with this one. Yeah, this was game number 50. And yeah, it's taken him about 50 games to maybe start to figure out how to be at least an average Major League hitter. And I think he is going to be much better than average. And I think this hot streak is just the start of something new for Wyatt Langford. And that is a massively positive sign about this team, much more than one simple win against the Mets. But boy, was this win fun. This episode is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Here on Locked On Rangers, we pride ourselves in getting you the latest news for your team. Whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs, it's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link in the episode description below. This episode is brought to you by Policygenius. A lot of life is unpredictable, but a good life insurance plan gives your family a financial safety net to protect you against some of life's unknowns. Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you easily compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Their award-winning agents can even walk you through the process step by step. Your work-life insurance may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius has no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. They have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance policy with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. Now, I do have one last note about Wyatt Langford before we move on to the other person who played center field for the Rangers last night and also had a pretty darn good day. I think just putting in perspective how little baseball he's played since he was in high school is still kind of boggles my mind. Because this was Wyatt Langford's 40th game of Major League Baseball. 50th game, excuse me. He has played 47 games of minor league baseball. So officially now more Major League games than minor league games. But you go to his college, he's only played 134 games there, and then the summer league in Charlottesville, and also with the Coastal Plain League. He played 43 games there combined. So all baseball games that he has played since, this is the number of baseball games he's played since high school. Organized baseball, I should say. 273 games. 273 games since high school. And this kid's already played 50 of those games in the majors. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how fast this guy has been fast-tracked through the system and how much better this guy has gotten at each level and how quickly he has done so. I mean, this hot streak is only the beginning. This kid just gets better with every single plate appearance that he has. Now, speaking of guys who played center field for the Rangers in this game, Leody Taveras, with the pinch hit appearance of his life to this point. I mean, if I feel like it's maybe too strong to say the second best at bat or plate appearance of his life. The best one was that walk he worked ahead of Corey Seager in World Series Game 1. Probably not as good as hitting that home run in the ALCS off of Justin Verlander. He had a couple other really good moments in the postseason as well with his bat, more so with his glove, with robbing that home run from Yordan Alvarez on a ball that had never, a batted ball at that velocity, that launch angle, and that distance that had literally never been robbed before in the history of StatCast. It had been a hit and a home run in 100% of those type of balls in the StatCast era. But the offense for Leody, as of late, my God, it had been horrible. It had been absolutely dreadful. And all of my cheering for Leody's great defense, which it has been great. It has been great. There have been much fewer of those slip-ups as there were defensively early on in the year. He's had much fewer of those, but the bat has just been woeful as of late. His last 30 games, including tonight, he's hitting 150 with an on-base of 213 and slugging just 250. Now, I know he's the number 9 hitter, and I've defended him of you don't need that much from your number 9 hitter, but you need him to be better than that. And as of late, he just hasn't been. But hopefully, this plate appearance, this at-bat, this clutch home run to win the Rangers this game and stop this snide. And it wasn't just that he randomly ran into one. The whole at-bat was great. Pinch hitting for Robbie Grossman because there was a righty on the mound. And I'm glad Bruce Bochy decided to go with Leody against the righty because he is a better offensive option at this point, even amidst his scuffles. That's how bad Grossman has been against righties. He's been good against lefties, but against righties, he's been garbage. But on the 7th pitch of the at-bat, right after nearly hitting what would have been surely at least a double, if not an RBI triple, literally the pitch before, the 6th pitch, a four-seam fastball right down the middle of the plate, a little bit below belt height, but should have been crushed, nearly was, about inches away from being a double down the line. Leody Taveras takes a second, dusts himself off, and for some reason, Drew Smith wants to come back with the exact same pitch, just a little bit more in, and Leody just freaking hammers this ball. I mean, he absolutely crushed this one. 107.8 miles an hour off the bat. 405 feet. One of the hardest hit home runs by any Ranger this season. I mean, he absolutely destroyed that thing. In a huge spot coming up in pitch hitting. I mean, you could say for the last, 15 games, Leody's bat was unplayable. You could say that. I wouldn't say that. But someone could, theoretically. But for him to come up with an at-bat like that, taking a lot of those close pitches, working a full count, not getting discouraged after the absolute offensive hole that he has been in as of late, and to come up with that kind of clutch at-bat, that kind of result, my God, that had to feel amazing. I mean, just absolutely euphoric for Leody, and he needed it. And I would like for Nathaniel Lowe to have a plate appearance like that, and Jonah Heim, and Adolis Garcia, because those guys could absolutely use a plate appearance like that as well, because they have also been in just dreadful holes as of late. More so Adolis and Heim than Lowe. I feel like Lowe is just about to pull out of this nosedive, because I've liked his plate appearances as of late better. I know he did bugaboo his first inning at bat because it wasn't great, especially in that situation. But I think as of late, the last few games, last handful of games, Lowe's look better. But having that kind of a moment when this team is just in such a horrendous skid, just everything feels compounded. Especially if you went into an off day, If you go into an off day riding an L6, getting swept in back-to-back series, I mean, that just feels awful as a team. And, I mean, the last couple of days worth of podcasts have been about as bleak as it has been definitely as bleak as I've been about this team. Well, since the ALCS. Actually, I don't even think I did a podcast after Game 5. I think I was just that heartbroken. But this is as pessimistic as I've been about the Rangers in quite some time. And so to have a win like this, to have a moment like this, to have Leody Taveras be the one to deliver them in this moment, I feel amazing for Leody. I feel amazing for the rest of these guys. And mostly I feel amazing for me for not having to talk about 6 straight losses. Can we talk about this pitching staff? A great start by Heaney. And is Jose Urena going to be a high leverage reliever now? I think he just might be. This is brought to you by Stitch Fix. You know that instant confidence boost you feel from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist that understands your style, size, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. You could easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new, on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want, how I want, no subscription required. And they send 5 just for me pieces, outfit recommendations, and pro styling advice. I keep what works and I send back the rest. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me a lot of time and effort. Plus, I get the outfits that make me look good and feel really good. If you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now is the best time to get started at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $100 off. stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of sign-up. Offer does not include kids fixes. Now, after getting some good news about their pitcher injuries this week, seeing Max Scherzer will be in the rotation at some point this weekend against Kansas City. When exactly, I don't know at this point. I'm thinking it'll either be, well, I have no idea. It'll be one of Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. One of those 3. He'll be in this rotation. We got to see Jacob deGrom throwing pitches in a Rangers uniform, 15 fastballs. The first time he has been on a mound since the elbow reconstruction surgery he underwent last year. Says he felt good. He will throw again. We got to see Tyler Mahle throwing yet again, but the Rangers got some bad news as well. Thankfully, it was not anyone in the Major League rotation. Not thankfully. It was an elbow injury. Not anything you want to see ever for any pitcher. Major, minor leagues, reliever, starter, does not matter. But the Rangers got some bad news with Jose Corniel, last year's minor league, or I guess Nolan Ryan, Rangers minor league pitcher of the year. Jose Corniel is going to have surgery on his elbow. And boy, the pitchers who win that award for the best Rangers pitching prospect of the year, it feels like every Rangers pitching prospect is cursed, but it feels like the ones that win that award are especially cursed. I mean, some of the guys who have won it in the past are guys like Jackson, Chichi Gonzalez, Kyle Cody, Tyler Phillips, Jason Barr, Cole Winn, Ariel Jurado, Yohander Mendez. Well, the only one who's escaped that curse has escaped it by fleeing. Then Cole Reagans, who won it in 2022, and then in 2023, he turned into Nolan Ryan, but for the Kansas City Royals, not for the Rangers. So this award, maybe it's just Rangers pitchers in general, pitching prospects in general are cursed, but I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. All the best to Jose Corniel, who was absolutely phenomenal last season. He looked pretty darn solid this year as well. But this is a huge bummer, because you never want to see any pitching prospect go down with an injury, let alone elbow ligament surgery, basically Tommy John, but without it actually being called Tommy John anymore because of updated surgeries. But I'm still calling it TJ because we all know what that is. But still a huge bummer for the Rangers to lose Jose Corniel for the season, and best of luck to him in his recovery. But Andrew Heaney, absolutely fantastic game from him. I know he was tagged for 3 runs and was tagged for a massive home run, which ended up being a 2-run homer because of the walk before it. One of just 2 walks for him in this game, but him going 6 innings, 9 strikeouts for him in this one on 89 pitches. I mean, he has been so much better about staying in the strike zone, and all the things that made me frustrated about watching Heaney last year, of him nibbling too much, of him, throwing way too many pitches, not being economical with his pitch count, not being able to go deep into games. He has been so much better about that this year, and limiting those walks to a much better degree this year, limiting those runs as well, and being able to consistently pitch 5-6 innings this year in a way that he really did not do pretty much at all last year. And he's still keeping the strikeout numbers as well. I mean, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings for him in this one. Just a really, really good performance from him. And Jose Urena coming in a tie game at that point to keep it close. But the Rangers sticking with him and not forcing David Robertson to go back out there a day after just getting absolutely shredded with hard contact. Some of them ground balls, some of them for not ground balls in that blown lead in the day before's game. Just sticking with them to go 2 innings in this one to bridge the gap to Kirby Yates, who comes back in after a rough outing of his own and blowing his first game of the season, which, again, even the best relievers do that sometimes. But coming back out there for that second inning, I think the Rangers will think about using him a little bit more often in those late high leverage situations. It was still a tie game, but you were at home, so that's more of a side of your bullpen kind of a situation. In the 7th and 8th innings, you're usually throwing your Jose Leclerc's or your David Robertsons, but maybe Leclerc has worked his way out of that tree of trust after a rough outing himself from basically everybody in the A side of that bullpen in that Tuesday night game. But I like seeing him in this kind of a situation. Jose Urena has been one of the more dependable pitchers for the Rangers this year, and if not for the Rangers having a bazillion injured starting pitchers, then Urena would still be in this rotation. He didn't pitch badly enough to where you think, oh, that's why he lost his spot in the rotation. He still could be. He might even be, a better starter at this point than Dane Dunning. But they have a little bit more committed to Dane Dunning, and I think that is the right call, putting Urena back in the pen. But I wouldn't be mad to see him in more of these situations in the future. I think it could really help this Rangers bullpen of not relying too much on throwing David Robertson so many games, throwing so many pitches, having to pitch so many innings. Because I think eventually that's going to catch up to David Robertson. I mean, he is 39 years old. And if you have to throw him out there in every single tight game and throw him in back-to-back games so often and throw him an inning, a third, an inning and 2/3, or 2 innings, Urena can handle that workload a little bit better. He is much younger. He's 7 years younger than David Robertson, which means he's still 32. So not exactly a spring chicken, but still by no means as much of a workload on his arm as there has been on David Robertson for his major league career. But it's good to see Yates get back on the horse, get back out there. I mean, it wasn't a horrible outing for him, blowing his first lead of the season, but it was still a tie game. He gave up the winning run and ends up getting tagged for the loss for the first time this year. But seeing him just bounce right back out there in this one and have a perfect inning of work, get a strikeout, get some weak contact, look like the Kirby Yates that the Rangers have relied on all year. I mean, it's huge. It's just huge. And just getting this win in general, getting off of that stupid snide, getting off of, losing 3 straight to the Mets, who have been powered by the power of friendship and the power of grimace. This was the first loss that the Mets have suffered since they let Grimace throw out the first pitch. I believe that was on either Friday or Saturday night. They rode a 5-game winning streak with the power of Grimace because, of course, baseball is silly, and all these teams have these streaks, these ups and downs, and what have you. And the Rangers are still very far out of it at this point. They're still 10 games out of it in the AL West, and because of whatever tiebreaker exists, the Astros are technically ahead of them in the standings, and I don't like looking at that. I would like for the Astros to have lost to the White Sox tonight, but alas, that wasn't exactly how it happened. But this Rangers team, seeing Wyatt Langford claw his way back into becoming a good major leaguer, seeing Leody Taveras snap this kid, seeing this offense, stick to the aggressiveness on the base pass, stick to the aggressiveness, with the stolen bases while things aren't working. It's encouraging. And seeing these starting pitching performances by guys like Heaney, these bullpen performances by guys like Urania and Yates, makes you start to think, Bryce, what were you doing being so gosh darn dramatic earlier this week? And, well, I will say to you, a 5-game losing streak when you are already so far out of it and just trying not to be out of it, it can make, a hysteric, dramaticist, a boy who cried wolfer and the sky is falling out of just about anybody. But man, this game might not mean all that much in the grand scheme of things, but it sure is so much nicer to watch a clutch win than a clutch loss. Now that's going to do it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow talking a little bit about this series against the Kansas City Royals, a little bit more about what's going on in the minors so far this season. There have been some pitching bright spots, some dare I say, maybe I daren't. Maybe I'll whisper it. Rangers pitching prospects that you might want to actually get excited about. I whispered it, so maybe the curse of the Nolan Ryan Rangers Minor League Pitcher of the Year award won't infect who wins it this year. Or maybe it will. Who knows? But that's going to do it for today's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing, and until next time, don't forget to enjoy World Series champion Texas Rangers baseball.